deixar ele ser um por
City of this one house gates now wide. Burning souls got nowhere to hide. Carnival moving to the violent land. Where centaurs with their arrows stand.
Deep, the frog runs thick, endless carnival, learning every trick. Seducers right in the first round, wild horn demons whip without a sound. Flatterers swimming in their race, second ditch showing open taste. Carnival mirrors every sin in this maze where lies begin. Devil's maze, 10 race to the sea. Every frog you can't believe. Carnival running through the con. Devil's maze, trust is gone. Round and round, the ditches go. Arlen souls spinning on a show. Devil's maze, which way is true? Every cat, the seeding you. Some on the yes, wearing upside down. Wrong fortune tells it's turned around. Tempest magic, running in the bitch. Off demons make the censor switch. Think of grit, a human leg. Walking slow among the dead. Devil's maze, 10 ways to the sea. Every fraud you can't believe. Carnival running through the con. Devil's maze, trust is gone. Round and round, the ditches go. Arlen souls putting on a show. Devil's maze, which way is true? Every fact, the seeding you. These transforming into beasts, while evil counselors burn like free. Schematic split from head to toe. Falsifiers putting on a show. Devil's maze, cross complete. Giants waiting at our feet. 10 ditches cross, but one remains. Frozen lake.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's see, it is just gone 8 o'clock on the 4th of January. Today would be a Sunday. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 311 of Scuffed Epoch. I'm Drift Johnson, and this is Latent Space Live. We're doing the DJZ Arcade tonight with a full pipeline. Anybody that's interested in development of games will be interested in this one. So, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Say hello to everybody. Hello, Dolphin. Hello, Dragon. All of his scaling is ball socks. Fernicar Battle Cruiser operational. Liked and subscribed. So welcome, friends. We're going to continue. Like I say, 2026. Isn't that crazy? Crazy stuff. And like I say, time flies when you're having fun. If you've been coming and joining us in the dev chat on the Discord, thank you very much. It's been great over the New Year's period, to everybody that came along, and to everyone that couldn't make it. There's always time. We're still here, but yeah. So thank you very much. Like I said, the holidays were awesome. We're gonna have to get back to work, aren't we? And I thought what I'd do is I'd give you my current workflow, which is an end-to-end pipeline from dream to distribution or demo. So you have a working demo that you can actually give people, or you can put on a website and just let people play it. So everything we're going to look at tonight you can play, so I'll show you how to get there. If you're on my website, scuffedepoch.com, all you have to do is scroll down to the GitHub repos, and the Discord link is just there on the right. Don't forget, there are various links in the description of this video if you want to find us. So once you come over onto here, it's not pinned, unfortunately. There are many repos. But DJZ Arcade is something you should be able to find. And inside of here, what we have is we have the README for each game. So React Ace, which is Ace Combat. React Cycles, which is Tron Light Cycles. React Tanks, which is Tron Tanks, React Warrior 2, which is Mech Warrior 2, React Wars, which is Syndicate Wars. Wait, Syndicate Wars? I wonder which one it is. I think it's one of the classic ones. And then React Zero, which is an F-Zero style racing game. And then Robot Planet, which is probably the one which I'm going to end up showing the most. But all of them are good. My favourites are the last two. Even though they're all good, React Warrior 2 was the breakthrough because these are mostly 3D now. We're doing all 3D wireframe with vertex shading, so we don't need PNGs. But React Tanks came after React Warrior 2, and then React Ace, which is the Ace Combat. And that turned into a bit of an infinite space game, to be honest, with a missile hell focus. So we'll take a look at a couple of these, but if you want to know more about each of the games, there is a full sort of readme for each of the games. So if you take a look on the DJZ Arcade main readme, you'll see quick links to everything. So we have the link for the live online version. You have the documentation, which is what I just explained. They're all here. You have the original plan, which is written with tins. Okay. We explained that last episode in 310. And then the research study, if available, because there may not have actually been a research study, but if there was one, I've linked that as well. Okay, so those are in the Tins for Skills repo in the games folder. But like I say, it's all linked from here. So I think last episode we already took a look at a couple of these, but for the benefit of people at home, we're going to have a quick skip through some of those right now. And we'll end with tanks. Or I think, no, end with wars. That came before tanks. Okay. So obviously React. That's right, we wrote them all in React. So it's React JSX component-based system design with a focus on limiting file length, okay? Because that way your context is nice and light and it can do little bits in little places and put it all together with Vite at the end. We're using 3JS with Dry and Fabric for 2D overlays. That's my favoured sort of Swiss Army knife. Ultimately, we're building for web, which is what all these live demos we're going to look at are. But we're also doing a MSI portable offline release. So all of the games that we're looking at are also available, and they're built with Tauri. So essentially, it's doing a wrapper for the HTML in a Tauri executable. You can also build for Linux or Mac with the same system. But I only really bother with the MSIs at the moment because I see it as nice and clean. You can see the file size comes down quite considerably. And they're a little bit more performant as well, I think, when you strip everything away. But you'd have to do more benchmarking to actually prove that. Ultimately, what you've got is 4-hour one-shot workflow to like idea to demo. So, you know, if you're a indie development company, you can sort of moonshot demo ideas. What I did was I ran 24 plans. All of them are linked from that repo we were talking about. I've released them all. If there's some I missed, then that's my mistake. I made a lot of plans, but there's over 24 plans in the main plans repo. That would be the Tins for Skills games. So as you can see, they're all here. Don't say Kirby, so Kirby's Dreamland. Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Iron Command is real-time strategy, Light Cycles, Mecha Force, that's Dragon Force. Some of these have neural net abilities as well. There's like additional readmes for some of them, but Mech Arena, Motocross Mayhem didn't work. And also, let me just jump quickly to a side here. I made a whole bunch of components which I use quite regularly now. So we got cheat menu, procedural terrain, RoboGen, spiral pathing, 3D attitude indicator, and there's another one called like Elite Radar. I've got another JSX collection, but I'm not really, I'm gonna put them all in one place eventually, but laser frame, okay, well you get the picture. So this one, gives a cheat menu. So if you type IDKFA, it unlocks a debug menu with like God mode, infinite ammo, things like that, and you can just integrate this into any game. Do you see what I mean? And it will adapt itself to work with whatever it's being implemented into. That's the concept anyway. So it's like a universal cheat menu for games, and it uses the Doom cheat code. Okay, that's the idea, and I'll show you it being implemented. All of these have a demo HTML which you can download and preview in the browser. So there's procedural terrain. This one's also the same sort of thing. Makes procedural terrain. RoboGen is missing the README, but it makes procedural robots. Spiral pathing, same thing. It's for those games where you've got enemies flying towards you to kill. 3D attitude indicator is like what you get in a plane, but it's like high quality. Okay, and it tracks all of the game telemetry. Laser frame is that was for Syndicate Wars, so it's to make the UI all like print out. Let's see. So if we get back to it, let's take a look at some of these. So we'll go through the ones we already had first. We got the Light Cycles game. So obviously we've got the ability to move the camera, and the computer's quite sneaky actually. So let's just try and get around him. Now I know you guys probably have seen this before, but just for the benefit of people watching later or anyone new in the audience, this one would be at React Cycles 1. Wait a minute, I think he just screwed me over. Ah, you've got to be joking. Oh well. And then you have a bunch of camera tracking modes with camera height control. Okay, so we got first person view of the bikes. Then we got a chase view where it locks onto the other guy with stepping through with C. The dual cam, and then you've got the put the camera anyway to watch it. So looping replays of the last match, right? And in the settings, we can go for small and DHCR, which is a lot smarter. Okay, so he actually has the ability to beat me quite easily. Can I see that? Oh, I think he got me. He just cut me off at just the right moment. Anyway, this guy's a lot smarter. You can see he's a bit more aggressive. Anyway, so that's cool, and it comes with a full level editor like a lot of these do. Oi! Printer software trying to take over the world. No update for you. So we'll go, you've got classic DHHR, level editor. So there is a level editor where you can just draw out obstacles, spell things out, whatever it is you want to do. Okay. Anyway, so that was fun. We were experimenting with the whole wireframe everything SVGA a little bit, but I didn't ask for it that time. I just kind of got it. But anyway, Light Cycles. So then we go on to the React Warrior game, and obviously React Warrior was like a full-on implementation. It's got everything. It's got the turning torso separate from the legs, like the classic. That's the sort of signature Mech Warrior thing. If I hold C, it'll turn me back to looking forwards. So I've got mouse control of the turret, but you have to steer with A and D, And then 1, 2, 3, 4 are the weapons. Basically, it's just we're aping Mech Warrior 2 here, yeah. And this was an experiment with the SVGA shading. So again, there's no textures. It's just using classic shading techniques to, fill the wireframes. I should have fixed it so that they didn't walk on top of each other, but I was happy with how this came out. And in fact, if we were turning up the audio here, sometimes it gives you a whole bunch of like call outs and
Reaching
stuff.
navigation
Oh my
point
God.
nav beta.
Yeah, the computer talks to you. So anyway, we'll kill that. So, you know, you can fully complete this. It's very cool. I really enjoyed building this one. It's got like night vision modes, overheat simulated and everything. It's pretty cool. And again, it has a level editor. So can we quit the game? I guess I have to finish the game. No, just refresh. Just refresh. So we have the level editor. All right. So we can like, I didn't get around to, that's the next bit. I'll make a bunch of levels with clever spawn locations and stuff. That's what I did do for React Tank. But it's all, save and load. So I believe it saves a JSON file. So I'll probably come back and improve it. But like I said, this was a lot of fun. Because you can make little scenarios, you see. And that is essentially a campaign when you chain them together. But anyway, so it has... You know, it's basically what I'd call feature complete. Could it be improved? Hell yeah. But this is why I made later components. Anyway, so to deal with the whole, we don't have terrain to deal with the whole, all of the robots look a bit samey. So I made the procedural deterministic. It's based on the idea that they built the tools for No Man's Sky on. That if you have a shape generator that has connection rules, and then you put a deterministic seed in there, you can basically generate infinite spaceships, and they'll all look kind of good, as long as the parts were okay. So I'm trying to sort of say, okay, well, how about we just say we're making retro arcade games, which are like wireframe? And so at that point, we just need like a kind of blocky thing for the head and a blocky bit for the arm. And then, so it's a bit like early SVG for AI, but instead of SVG, wireframe. So we make a wireframe factory that it actually, you know, AI generates the models at runtime. It's quite fun. Anyway, blah 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 blah. So that would be the React Warrior. So next what I did was I tried to have a go at the Wipeout F-Zero style, and it's basically racing on a spline. I did put in a bunch of custom levels, so we'll go for the hill circuit. And all you can really do is move left and right on the spline. So, you know, you have to kind of like move left and right. And then go fast by holding space, which uses up your energy. Okay, now the pit line is supposed to recharge you, but I think you're going so fast it doesn't really work. The green spots obviously speed you up, and this game is actually very hard. The AI players are way too fast, so you can see there's an AI player like in the distance. I died. I used all of my energy on going too fast. Hello, Dominic. Ah, nice. Got the coffee. That's it. Welcome. Say hello to Dubai, everybody. So, yeah, so we'll try the 5 bends next, which shows you that it is a different map. So this would be the 5 bends. So again, this is like an F-Zero style. So we're looking at arcade Atari grade gaming, and I think that it nailed it. This has a level editor as well, as you might imagine. So, you know, you can just put these out like a big spline and make your own maps. They save as JSON. So again, it's another investigation into seeing about community sharing, you know, player generated content, and just simple games, not trying to be complicated, taking an older game and just seeing if we can remake it completely in 3JS, and using a combination of what I call the new pipeline, right? It's what a lot of people are already doing, but with our little twist. And it works extremely well, as you're going to see as we go through these games. So, next one that's coming up is React Wars. Now, this one is unfinished. I call these 95%ers, because the last 5% would probably take another month of development. You know, to actually make it feature complete, shippable. These are demos. So they are, you know, tech demos with a lot of features though. So we have the full level editor. This is the isometric game, real time. Okay, the thing about Syndicate Wars was it was a real time game. So here we have the ability to place all kinds of things, like, you know, we could put like a building here, stuff like this. And what it does is it saves a layer on top of a procedural city generator. So that's how we've done it. Okay, so there's always the same city, but you can make a custom bit for the scenario and put the enemies down. Fog of war means player can't see until he gets close, so it's possible to make your own objectives and therefore create your own campaigns. Obviously it's still a demo, but if we start the game, you can see this is a lot like Syndicate Wars. We have the research panel, we have the agents. Wait, no we don't, they're all dead. New campaign. Now we have agents. I think all of my agents died. But yeah, so you can do the loadout for each agent. Now, obviously, with a bit more development, you could have a slightly more graphical thing. But this is like feature complete is what I call it. So all of the features are there. The research to unlock more stuff. Let the time pass. It's all based on these earlier games. So if we go into a game, again, it's going to be basic, but it will work. So I can tell my guys to move to here. Here's my guys. They can't see anything yet. Forgive the infinite road. There were only so many textures in the game. So there we go. They're going to start firing. And you can't really see them firing, but they're firing. Uh-oh, I think they're all going to die. Oh no. Game over, man. So again, this is the idea of the real-time isometric game, right? With the level editor. So you make the level yourself. It's like a level that goes, it's like a skin that goes on top of the procedural city for the mission. So then when you load the JSON, you know, the custom content for the mission is there, and it's all fully destructible. You know, you'll have to forgive the basic graphics, but we were working on the all of this, the mechanics and stuff. So next, this one's the most fun actually. This one was like the big one when I was like, yeah, 3D is solved. This is actually a really nice output. So if we just take a quick look at the level editor, let's take a look at level 1. If I zoom out, so this is one of the custom levels I've made for the game. There's a bunch of these which I've put together. You can go ahead and play, and they're part of like a campaign, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so oh, there's no enemies on that one for some reason. That's a bug. But anyway, if we go back and just play the actual game proper. Oh, in the settings menu, you can turn on the SVGA shading, which we're gonna do. Okay, right back. So in this game, it's based on the original like Atari tanks or something, yeah. But you know, you could call it Tron inspired because it is. I'm gonna go with the rapid fire. And we're going to go with the level 1. There we go. Alright. So you press R to lock on to the nearest target is how it works. As long as I didn't just bust myself up, that's the nearest target. So we'll left click, right click to shoot. Oh dear. This reminds me of an old PlayStation game called Assault Rigs, but there's only one floor level, you know. That in Assault Rigs it had verticality, but I haven't played around with the idea of like a ramp, you know, to let the player go up to a second level or something. Oh, oh. Whoa, taking damage. But you get fast gameplay, custom maps, the AI is pretty sweet. It's not too smart, so you know, they try to run away when they get weak, they're kind of cowardly. The player is nimble enough that you've got a chance of evading. Whoa. Oh my god, I'm outnumbered, I need to get out of here. Maybe I could find a health pickup somewhere. No health over here. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. No. Run. So anyway, this is a really fun game. There's a bunch of levels, and you can make your own. So, and like I said, this was our first go at making like a proper, full, you know, full-featured 3D game. I have a suspicion that the whole thing is upside down. Whoa. Like we're driving on the ceiling, actually. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it just... every now and then I get the feeling like the whole game map is upside down for some reason, but... AI gaming, guys. It works. But yeah, whoa. Like I said, all of these games are up, so if you want to play them and check them out, they're all there. And obviously all the plans are there, so you can make them yourself. We'll talk about the workflow once we finish showing off all of these demos. There's only a couple more left. Whoa. Get in. Is that it? Yeah! Okay, let's return to base. So there's no progression with this one. It's literally just pick a tank, standard or rapid, and then pick a level. Very basic. I was toying with the idea of making it peer-to-peer network multiplayer. So you could do like a, not PvP, but PvE. So you could like go in with your buddy and do co-op. I thought that'd be cool. But I wanted to make a solid game to then adapt for multiplayer as that experiment. So this might be it. But like I said, this is a lot of fun. It's scuffdepot.com/react-tanks, and it runs in the browser. There is an offline version which is available in the arcade, which is what we're looking at today. All the MSIs are in the release section, and then full readme for each game right there. And as I was saying, you can take my tins plan and you'd simply load it as system instructions, and it will step through the plan and create the game to your spec, not mine. So it will come out different. So it'll be like steerable Doom cloning, but not Doom, any other game. I don't know what it is about Doom. Maybe we should have another go at Doom. Give me ideas, man. Anyway. Can't be that difficult to do planes in 3D. I think the problem is we weren't just have to embrace 3JS, guys. I never thought I'd say that. Okay. So there it is. And actually I think it might run a little bit faster when you run it in MSI version rather than the browser, because there are some limitations in the browser. I'm not 100% about that, but it might just be like perception. So let's go on to the next one. So we've looked at all of them. Now it's time to look at Robot Planet. Oh wait, no, we need to look at, where's React Ace? Is it not here? Where's React Ace? Oh, I knew I forgot to add one. Right, Discord time. This is kind of nice actually. I can show you a little bit more here. So this would be the IDKFA cheat menu, which we'll get a little bit of, we'll have a look at that in a minute. So it's a JSX, you can just throw that in there. RoboGen, so again, seed based with tessellation option, wireframe or SVGA shaded, and randomized. So essentially random little robot dudes. It's making the wireframes with code. Procedural, right? You hit the random, they all change to a new designs that are like roughly within the same the scope of variation, right? So I use them for the enemies in the game we're going to get to last. Here is the game that we're going to look at next, React Ace. Okay, and this one was so much fun to make because we just, like I said, we embraced the 3JS. Here is the procedural terrain generator. Maybe we should make some ground maps for the flight sim now, huh? Anyway, let's see, spiral pathing. So again, this is like games like Galaga, or where you have the enemies coming from one end, but this is for 3D. So you have the tunnel, and this is the spiral path which the enemies are going to follow on. So this is actually an animation, and it has a bunch of random presets. So essentially it can generate infinite flight paths for enemies to enter the game world from ahead of you as you're flying forward, whatever direction that is. Yeah. So yeah. And then here we have the attitude pathing. I didn't end up implementing this in the flight game because we already used the space radar instead from the earlier Elite project, but you'll see that in a minute. Oh yeah. Here we go. Oh wait, sorry, Fernie. I forgot that it recorded his voice. So React Wars, we've looked at. Arcade, we're looking at. Tanks, we've looked at. So we're all caught up. Well, almost. There's a secret thing up there. You guys know if you know, but we'll be looking at that next time. So let me just keep going. I need the link for the game. Let's go. Right. We have a debug which allows you to do silly things. We're going to do the small loan of $1 million so that we can check all the... Excuse me. Sneezing there. So that we can check all of the cool settings at the end of the first level. So I'm going to leave it on 8 for now. Alright. We'll go to the settings and we'll have the vertex shading and the inverted pitch. And we'll turn the volume down just a touch. Alright, so let's go. So in this game, there's a nuclear missile coming. And it's going to hit our beautiful ship, the Albatross. Okay? And we're basically invulnerable to the enemies, but we can't leave until they're all dead. It's like that. We're interdicted by the enemy fleet. And they're just trying to keep us here until the nuke comes and kills us. Game over, right? So you've got to destroy the entire wave in the timer limit. Now, obviously, we've got the little indicators, so this is like Ace Combat, but it's missile hell. So all I have to do is hold space, and it will just auto-target anything that's in range on my screen. 45-degree aiming cone with auto lock. So it's very simple game. Yeah. We can go up and we can go a bit faster than this, and we can zoom out a bit. And we can start doing a bit of destruction. I'll be turning up the settings in a minute because we should do a little stress test. Oh, there we go. Finished and exit. Let's go to the hangar. Now, I have the cheat code, so I have a small loan of $1 million. Now, it has a bunch of upgrades. I'm going to buy them all. I'm going to max it out. But I do think it's worth playing the game and like earning your way up. I do think all of these are 10 times cheaper than they need to be. But it's a demo, right? Dominic says, hello, got nuke, says Zeus. And then Dominic says, you should add advertisements into games and promote brands. The more play, more you win discounts and gifts. That's a good idea, you know. I would love to look into something like that, but I don't have the connections for those sorts of things. But it would be a very interesting project because you could put, like, say you're in a video game and you've got to warp from A to B and there's jump gates. You could have adverts on the signs around the jump gate and it would kind of feel in universe. It wouldn't be out of place because it's kind of like Cowboy Bebop where they have ads everywhere on holographic. So you could make it actually fit and it would be cool. Yeah. And then the thing is, yeah, it's a very cool idea. We should have a chat. It's a very cool idea. I'm really interested in that. And then they can just throw it up as a website as well. It's super cool. But anyway, yeah. We should definitely have a chat. But this, like I said, is very fun. So if we now have all the upgrades, there's not many enemies in this map to kill. And it's still quite basic as well. There's a lot of cool stuff that we could do to make this better. Right, let's see. Oh, I'm somehow 2,000 meters away. That's alright, I can go really fast and get them. We'll get them all with the super laser. Are we in range? No, we were not in range. I missed. What a waste. Everything's upgraded now. Oh. There we go. I think I'm going to put gamepad support in next because it's going to be easier than pressing the keyboards. Alright, I've got to get back to the carrier. Oh. Okay, save and exit. Back to the hangar. Do your upgrades. Return to the menu. Now, what I want to do is I want to do a bit of fun. So I'm just going to see what the stress test is like, because it does scale the enemies with your level. So, and there's a battleship that comes at level 5 that I've never even seen. So I'm going to put the enemy count up to like something silly like 600 and see what happens. Okay. I just want to see how bad the lag is, if it is bad and stuff like that, right? Do a little stress test. So let's see. We need to find our home base. There's home base. Let's get over to home base. Oh boy, that's a lot of targets. But we have point defense and an auto cannon and drones on our wings now. So we should be able to make light work of them as long as I can actually hit them. Alright, so let's try the big mega beam laser again this time. Yeah, that's better. Whoa, okay. They took out a lot of them. Oh my god, there's a lot of them. There is a lot of enemies. There is a lot of enemies. Oh, yeah, use the big laser beam. So the laser beam has a big chain effect, you know, like a lightning chain. But you have to wait 20 seconds between it being available for use. Oh my god, there's a lot of them. Right. Maybe another laser beam. Yeah, that worked. Got to kill them all. So it was inspired by the new Battlestar Galactica, where in this one early episode of season 1, I think, the Cylons are chasing them and they have to escape before the nuke comes. So the timer is when the nuke comes, basically, you know, in this scenario. But I'm overpowered. So you get to have like the missile hell fantasy of just like flying around destroying a massive fleet of ships, like in some kind of Gundam anime or something, you know. Or Macross would be one like that, you know. They have the giant laser beam. It's kind of like that. The missiles are just like unfair. Like if I lock onto one enemy, I've locked onto everything within range, and it just releases mad swarms of missiles. And I don't really have a limit on the missiles, you know. It's all fun. But I am fully upgraded now. But then I did spawn like, 600 enemies or something. I think I need to get a move on. Gonna have to start using the laser beam more. But it's got a fun aesthetic. Obviously it's a little bit more overpowered. It reminds me a little bit like Warhawk, which is a bit of an unknown game now. They haven't rebooted that one for a while. And so yeah, essentially what we were talking about just earlier was, if you have to defend this spaceship, it might be a gate which has got a bunch of signs on it, and then you could put a bunch of ads there. That'd be actually kind of interesting. But yeah, you could change the setting to whatever it needs to be, really. Set it. See, what I want to crack next is getting terrain in here, because I already have that module for procedural terrain. Oh, nuclear torpedo! Suck. So I got beat. I'm not going to make you watch me play this game just to get the... Well, should I? Just to get the battleship? I want to see it. It should show up at level 5, I think. So let's try this again. There's a much smaller number of enemies now, so it'll probably just be a case of... Oh, actually, you probably actually need to hit them. But what is interesting is it is full 3D. It is a fully realized game. There's different types of units, different types of ammo, upgrade tree, and it kind of has a bit of a progression to it in the upgrades, but also there's a difficulty scaling. So as you keep going through this, it gets harder and harder, more and more enemies. It gets harder to make the timer. So then you have to make the right choices with the upgrades. Level 4. Okay, I just want to see the battleship at level 5, guys. But I've got it like on easy mode now. It couldn't be any easier. I'm basically God mode. Oh yeah, this has cheats. Or does it? Oh wait, no. I put them in the next game. This is a debug menu, which gives you $1 million. Yeah. Probably a couple of other things too. But yeah, the next game is actually probably the best one that we've made so far in terms of I could just put it on Steam, to be honest. On hell, I might. Who knows? This one is a lot of fun. It really is. It plays like Star Fox, but like open world somehow. I don't know. Okay. You can't do a barrel roll. I'll have to implement barrel roll, how to do a barrel roll. So if we go here, debug config, right? So yeah, I was just, this is the stuff I was debugging basically. Right. So, right, is the battleship going to show up? Oh, is the battleship going to show up? Or does he show up on level 6? It'd be funny if I just destroyed it straight away. Let's see if we can find him, because I know he spawns slow. He spawns like far away, but I'm not really sure. He moves slow and far. I've never seen it. Funny if it just gets blown up. Turns out my damage scaling is too much, so we never even see it. I can't get near the enemies because I got so much automated defenses on this thing. It's just everything's been destroyed. Maybe it was level 6? Okay. Battleship? Oh. I should probably give it a different indicator as well, so... I think they're coming from over here. It has different skyboxes to sort of emulate different environments as well, but, you know, nebula, star, planet. Everything's just getting destroyed without me needing to fire, so it's all weak. Yeah, I didn't see a battleship. So there's a secret battleship in the game. Okay, I'll leave it there. You guys can find the secret battleship. He shows up and he starts shooting across the map at your. It's like a mini boss, but I never saw him. So, okay. Anyway, like I said, it's a fully realized game. You could put in all kinds of mechanics to this sort of thing. And everything is all fully documented in Tins for Skills. You can find the Tins skill, which you put into Claude, which enables you to do this. Tins is also an MCP, so it's model agnostic, and there's a system prompt version of it, but essentially it makes cool README plans from anything. We had made this a long time ago. You can learn more at thereisnosource.com. This is quite old now. I think it's like 9 months, 10 months old, something like that. And it's the gift that keeps on giving because it's future-proof. The better the models get, the better the Tins output gets. And we continually prove that by remixing the same games over and over again. So we're getting the same prompt, and I've even released the prompt, all of them now. So if you come into Tins for Skills and go to the games section, you'll notice that all of the games that we've been talking about in the last 2 streams, they're all fully released now. And then in the actual arcade, you'll find the live version, the README that explains how to play it, the Tins, which was made, that's how we built it, and then the research study. So that leads us to the last game. But my coffee's cold, so I'm doing coffee time early. I'll be right back. These sorts of stuffs is giving me ideas. But yeah, basically, interesting times, guys. Interesting times. If you want the shortcut while we're just on coffee time like this, I would say you do the research, you do the tins on the results of the research, you put the tins output, which is a readme.md, into your system instructions with Google AI Studio Build or Lovable or whatever IDE you're using, and then you just go finish the plan, and he will go ahead and complete the plan and implement all of the steps. And like I say, by the time you get to having actually gone through all of the items in that, you will have your finished game, app, whatever it is. But then what comes next? And that's the interesting thing about our pipeline. It's not just a demo, it's not just a toy. You can actually go and ship. So the difference is, once you're done, we have figured out a universal pipeline for taking it from AI Studio to your local development, and then you can go further with things like Opus or GPT Pro, or whatever it is that you prefer to use and whatever IDE you prefer to use. I say build for web, so then you've got the web version, you have the demo, you can immediately show it to customers and let the players have fun with it. And then you immediately get that version and you build with Tauri for distribution on .msi, and there you have your playable demo. It couldn't get simpler. So we're going to switch the screen back on and we're going to keep going. We've got one more game to look at. Now this is the one which I've worked on today. It took 6 hours to build yesterday, and I think we did another couple of hours on it today because I wanted to make it more performant. So what I've done with this next game, which is called Robot Planet, it's based on Vampire Survivors. You can play it right now in the browser at scuffedepoch.com/robot-planet. It's just a robot themed Vampire Survivors, but it's made entirely with AI in 3D. So it has wireframe assets that are generated procedurally, so they're not static assets. It's generating its own 3D assets for everything in the game. It obviously has a bit of a library, so you have to get through all of the enemy types to see them all, but that's part of the game, isn't it? There's also like a mad, end game, like New Game Plus system inspired by that game as well. So, yeah, full documentation in the README. The plan is not up yet, I don't think, but I will be putting it up, so do not fear. I'm not going to hold on you. I'm not going to hold out on that one. So yeah, you go to the settings. We're just going to turn the music down a bit because it is very chip tunes. If one thing I would do is I would change it to be a bit more retro because this is super arcade. But anyway, so the fabricator only works when you have scrap. Okay, that's the stuff you collect in game if you're familiar. So when we start, we have unlockable units. This is all part of the New Game Plus. So we'll just start with the base unit. There's also unlockable games, again part of the New Game Plus. And then we have the Arcana, which are cards that modify gameplay. I'm not going to load any. You can have up to 2. But, they have like a buff and a nerf. And they obviously work together or against each other with, there's a whole meta game and you can unlock them and everything else. Once you're in the game, we've got the 3D terrain generator as well. So the one that I showed is actually being used to generate the maps. And then... Wait, is that the edge of the... Yeah, there we go. It generated one. See, I thought, oh no, the edge of the world, I broke something. So obviously it is literally like a mecha Vampire Survivors. So now I have the slash going each side. It just makes, it's basic, right? But we're using all generative wireframe and vertex shading for everything. Oh, I've got to be careful. Let's go and get that energy. So anyway, this is actually quite a lot of fun to play. I was surprised at how fun it was to play. So credit to the Vampire Survivors guys, because the mechanics are pretty much just aped, But this took, I think, 4 hours plus another 4 hours of polish. So we'll call it 8 total. Oh boy. I need to be quicker about this whole upgrade thing. Should probably make it 1, 2, 3 hotkeys to choose or something. I don't know what they did. But, you know, as you can see, it's like kill the enemies, pick up all the pieces. The enemies are going to get harder and harder, you know, and then you have like the scaling decision. And all you really do is move around. But yeah, the robots are made with my robot generator, and the terrain is done with the terrain generator. I think there's something else as well. Oh yeah, I'll show you. I can't do it in game. It only works on the main menu. So you'll have to let me die. But you can go ahead and play this right now. It's scufferdepoch.com/robot-planet. I don't think that the characters actually change, like, physically. Oh my god, the EMP field is now super bright. Okay, well, we'll just keep going. Maybe I upgraded it to max or something, I don't know. I think that's actually a bug. But yeah, so I'll just keep going until maybe I just let them kill me, yeah? Can I let them kill me? I bet they won't be able to because I'm too powerful. Oh boy. Can I get myself killed? Nope, not really. They're all too weak. What about this purple guy? Can he kill me? We'll just get the cooldown. Oh, see, that's not gonna... I'm just gonna get more powerful. I gotta wait until the actual tough guys show up, haven't I? Alright. Because they eventually start shooting back at you and then you're like screwed, so... I just won't get any defense upgrades. You have to last out for half an hour, that's the goal. I don't think I've actually managed to do that. Oh yeah, also, I used to go up and down the terrain, but I seem to just be floating above it at the moment. See, some of the optimizations to make it run lots and lots of enemies, I think we had to make some sacrifices like that. Which is a shame. But it's alright. But this kind of opened up the door to building a whole bunch of different types of games because, you know, it's fully 3D. There are no texture assets. It's all just at runtime. The game is 3 megabytes. 3 megabytes. And it'll run in a browser. It'll run on the desktop. I think it might be a little bit better on the desktop version, but I can't say for sure. Someone else would have to benchmark it properly and say, no, you're imagining things, so I wouldn't ask anyone to do it. But yes. Okay, we got some purple guys now. Everyone just seems to be charging at me. I'm guessing they have like more HP, but I've already scaled enough. So I'm trying not to pick defense so that when the big guy shows up I can just die. I think there's supposed to be like a mini-boss that spawns every 5 minutes as well, but I've never seen him. These are the sorts of things that you have to iron out in development, right? And it's like you can only do so much in 4 hours. It becomes a bandwidth issue, you know? How many instructions can you relay in a short space of time? And I think we'd managed to do quite a bit on this one, right? But, you know, there's always going to be stuff that was forgotten, even with all the power of AI and everything else. We had to change a bunch of stuff on the way to get here. The biggest issue was like non-performant code because he didn't really know. Here we go. I can just get shot. There you go. If I just don't move, I'll just get shot by these red guys. Look, you have to start dodging the bullets and it gets a bit crazy. So it doesn't even matter if you've got like mega defense and AoE. You just get sniped. So you need speed. Oh, there you go. Right, so then we go back to base. So here we have all of the various different upgrades that you can get with the scrap. So I want to get more scrap, right? I've used it all. So let's try my cheat menu. This is something I wanted to show you, right? So obviously here's the game, it's fully developed. Here's the cheat for you guys watching it, right? And this might bust up the game because it's going to unlock everything. So IDKFA, which is the Doom cheat code. You just literally type on the main menu, IDKFA. That's id for id software. KFA, keys, firearms, ammo. Yeah? And then the little cog will appear in the top right. And then we get the IDKFA debug menu. And if you remember the JSX component I showed you earlier, remember the mechs, the mech generator developed as a single JSX component and imported to the project. The terrain generator made as a single JSX component, and the debug menu made as a single JSX component and just brought in, because I'm going to use that sort of stuff in many games, so it's possible to like develop out modular components which you can use again and again and again and just adapt for whatever you're doing this time. So anyway, we're going to do God mode and all keys. If I do all weapons, it might get a bit crazy, so let's do okay, maybe not infinite ammo, but can you hear it getting insane? Okay, we'll do the H9 and we'll do hyper mode. Oh, I didn't get all of these though, they're still locked. Okay, is it broken? It's not firing at anything. Oh, he's got what? Hang on. Oh, there we go. I had to do the cheat again. Ah, I put the acid pool on by accident. That's the one I hate. Oh no, the acid pool's insane. So fully upgraded, it looks like this. Hang on, can we It's too late. He's cursed forever now. Yeah, so anyway, I need to get a slider so that I can put it at like level 10 straight out the gate, so I can test it with lots and lots and lots of enemies, you know? Because at the moment the problem is I can't stress test it without cheats. So maybe we'll add another cheat. But yeah, everybody's dead, Jim. There's like, it's just me trying to pick up all of the loot. Okay. Alright, calm down. Turn that off. Turn that off. Yeah, turn that off. It's fine. Disable all. What's this? The glitch unit. What's that? Oh, a drones. What's that? What about... What's boss rush? I'm going to go in weak. Is that a boss? I don't even have any weapons. Oh no. I don't know. I picked the worst mech in the game. It doesn't even have any weapons. Huh? Hang on. Let me just go back to the other guy. Hopefully he's actually got weapons. Did I pick something that says no weapons? No. Weird. Do I have weapons now? I don't have weapons in boss mode? Well, that's a bit... Wait, he can't hurt me? Because I've... Wait. Oh, I think I'm, like, glitched out. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Oh, look, it's actually doing the transparency correctly now. It was, like, super saturated a minute ago. Isn't that weird? So he's not taking any damage, though. The boss is immune. He is immune to all damage. Endless, hurry. What's inverse? I don't even know what that is. I think that actually broke all the code when we tried to do it. Oh, I'm an enemy now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I must have an invisible force field, guys. Yeah, I got an invisible force field. So it's like a subsistence type mech where you start with nothing and then you have to get many upgrades. And he's fast. Make him faster. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, there's lots of different styles of gameplay in there. The different mechs you can unlock offer even more. Oh, that's weird. I asked for drones and I don't see them. Oh, this is kind of cool. Like, they can't get near me. If they try to get close, they just get hit. I bet they'll get so tough that it doesn't work. Wow. He's like Bruce Lee. Close combat guy. I think it might be the EMP aura. Oh. Was it one of the achievements is to survive the robot without weapons? Ah, I see, Fernie. Only map weapons counts. Got it. Got it. Wow, I'm liking this build where they just get round you and they just get popped from your intense aura. aura farming bot. Very cool. It's kind of nice though, because you always have to run all over the place to do the pickups, and this guy is just like, he's got Goku aura. I could just sit here and power up. I do wonder if God mode is glitched though. You know what I mean? Because I put it on once, does it stay on forever? Oh no, it doesn't. I just took some damage. Oh no, quick, I gotta get over there because otherwise he'll start shooting people. And then I'll have to go and pick up the enemy stuff. Yes, come on, come on! Yes! It's actually a lot of fun. We might have to develop this into like something a little bit even more interesting. I'm having like crazy ideas about this. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, if you want to play it, you can load it up in the browser right now. scuffdepoch.com/robot-planet. And there is an MSI version if you prefer to play offline. You can get that on the GitHub, on DJZ Arcade. All the links are in the Discord, which the join link is in the description of this stream. And don't forget, we talked about the planning for all of this, and all the plans are up on the Tins for Skills repo, which we spoke about on the last episode 310. I will be covering the full workflow in a bit though, just to recap on what we did, because there's a couple of extra bits and pieces that we learned from doing these 25 games. This is actually kind of fun. Oh! It's a bit like herding, but it's a bit chaotic because there's always a straggler. Like maybe if I always hunt the straggler, I can just lead the herd and yeah. Uh-oh. Like always target that one guy that's going to break the encirclement and then just let them get close enough to take damage but not to do any. Oh. So there's the straggler there. Usually it's south. There's a straggler. Prioritize that guy and just let them get eaten in the wake. Oh, culling time. Are they actually hitting me? Oh dear, I'm like turning into like a black hole. Oh, something changed. There's these different guys. Oh, they're shooting at me now. Oh. Oh, they're not a different color. They're all blue. Okay. See, that put me off. I didn't realize. And I was like, wait, there's red things. Got to kill all these snipers. Oh, no. It's becoming like Doom imps. Whoa. They're quite tanky as well. They take a couple of hits. I'm just glad they're slow. Oh, he's dead. He's out of there. Okay. So obviously you can do your upgrades. I've got a little bit of scrap to mess around with. Let's see. Yeah, and then you can go back in and mess around. So a lot of fun. Yeah, do you know what, Dom? A couple of people have asked about VR. I believe that 3JS has a compatible VR module. I don't have a VR headset right now, but I can get access to one. I'm sure it's not. Yeah, I would love to see it, but I believe it can be done. I've seen the option in the plan, and I didn't do the option to implement the VR because I didn't have the. But he was trying. He asked me, "Do you want it?" in one of the plans, and I said, "No, it's all right." Untested, but probably likely. So let's take a look at the pipeline. Just recap, because that's the bit which is probably the most fun. But like I said, all of the games that we looked at tonight are all available on the DJZ Arcade. Full instructions and information on what the plans were, so you can do your own build. Okay, you can make your own version, and there's 20 more games where they came from. Okay, so you'll find the MSIs in the release section. So let's talk about it. So I'm going to use oh yeah, rock, paper, lizard, scissors, Spock. Oh yes, right. So in fact, should we take a look at some of those quickly as well? Yeah, it's probably a good idea. So one of the concepts is the React subcomponents. Okay, so we used 3 React subcomponents in that game that we were just looking at. So rather than getting the AI to just try and hallucinate everything, we actually defined what it is beforehand. So, for example, this would be RoboGen, which is my JSX component for the generation of wireframe robots according to deterministic seed. Is he going to actually run? What's going on? Lol. Let's just get this one open. There we go. So as you can see, we have a selection of weird looking robots. They've got good diversity in the parts. If I hit randomize, we get a different seed. So you give it a seed, it gives you a bunch of different, they're all like kind of samey, but it's doing a modular thing with the parts and the sizes and the scales and which ones go on what core and all of this, okay? And if I put it into solid mode and then jack up the tessellation, look at what we end up with. These are actually pretty good. Like, when you think that they were just generated randomly, look, if I zoom in on them, you can see what they are. They're just basic shapes, right? Basic shapes sort of being put together, okay? But some of them look actually quite detailed at this level. It's surprising how detailed, actually. And so you go and look at them from this size, which is what they're going to be in the game, and that's actually super detailed. You know, it's actually quite surprising. You even don't even need the tessellation when you take it down a bit, you know. But like I say, it's a stylistic choice. It does cost a bit more to tessellate the models. But again, you could even freeze these into a cooked type of asset if you wanted, and just use this to generate them, right? But at the moment, I'm just making them at runtime. I think they might get cached in the latest version. I did do a bunch of optimizations, it's all in the plans. But yeah, so wireframe robots was used, and then obviously the procedural terrain JSX. So I'm not just going to randomly say, because it would have just been a flat plane otherwise, right? But if we go with this system here, we can have obviously seed driven, and then we have different biomes. And then what I did was I used the lowest resolution, 16. So then you end up with this sort of retro Atari style game world, and obviously this is scaled up, you know, the players are moving around inside this, but obviously we've got all different types of biomes on access here, so you know, it's actually kind of interesting. I want to apply this to my tank game next, yeah, because the tank game is totally flat, which is kind of boring, right? And again, it goes to the next point. So what's this one? Atari MSI. No. Spiral pathway. Yeah, that one's cool as well. We'll look at that one, and we'll look at that one. It's in here somewhere. Yeah, there's the... Yeah. So, here we go. So, remember the Syndicate Wars? So, if we go to the Procedural City JSX... Okay, it's making the procedural city, and then this was made with the game in mind. So these placeholders match with the assets. So when I integrated this into the game, it was able to make that city. I know it's not perfect, okay, but it's like trying to give it something to go off of, which you can then put something over the top of. So it's like you have a defined structure to work with rather than just trying to get it like all, just hallucinate it all, you know? This guy doesn't like that for some reason. There we go. Altitude indicator canvas. Alright, so here we have the classic flight simulator altitude indicator. If I stop it, obviously I've got full control over these gauges here. And you can plug these values into 3JS, and so obviously they will actually be correct: altitude, airspeed, heading, roll, and pitch. These are known values, and they can be mapped to this. And then you can have a live UI which gives feedback to the user on what he's doing in the game. So Fernicar says, don't know if people realise tins had been demonstrated to beat vibe code. Yeah, it's one of those things, you know, it's like people don't know and it just flies below the radar, but everyone that's been using it has been having a great time, so that's all that matters in my opinion. If it works, that's awesome. And everyone's been having a great time with tins. So yeah, it's one of those, it's the gift that keeps on giving, like I say, because every time the model comes out, you just give the tins again and off you go. He'll remake your plan into a better app than before, because each model is more capable than the last. So you're kind of betting on the future, really. So anyway, that's this one. Let's see, we've got another one here, another one here, another one here. Each of them come with a JSX integration, which recommends to your LLM how to integrate with, it's called, it's a migration form. It's a form of migration, which it's, I don't want to see, I'm not going to use that word again. Let's have a look at this one. So here we have the tunnel. So if I play it, you'll notice that the spaceships are coming in, and here's the player, you can imagine, right? And we're looking down the tunnel. So the tunnel is the game world. The player is flying forwards, and so what happens is the enemies are coming towards him like this. Okay? And so what this visualizer is for is to help the game developer design these complex flight paths using AI. Because a lot of the time in a video game, you need to actually give the enemies a flight path. And so what I do is I take the player direction, and then we extend a vector spline forward on the forward vector. So whatever the forward vector of the player is, that's the spline around which the enemies are going to do this. And obviously you could change that in your implementation, but really the most of the logic, once you have a spline, is the enemy formation. So they're going to spawn in and do this 3D thing. And so obviously the point of this was this. So now we have random, another one, another random pattern, another random pattern. And they would obviously auto lock onto the player and fire at the player, right? If we look, they're actually in a V formation. Okay, they're actually in a V formation while they're doing this. Some of them are a little bit crazy, but they're in a V formation. Now you can change the formation, so we could say they're in a line. Okay. Whoops, can I get a better view of this? Okay. So what we've solved here is the complex algorithms that you need to do flight pathing. So it's not, normally in a video game there would probably be like 10 or 20 different flight paths. And if a developer really went to town, you might have like 100 unique flight paths, right? But this does away with all of that hard code and says, no, we can just make a new one every time. We can just make a new one every time. And we know that all of them are going to be within. So that's what this menu is for, is to define your minimum and maximum. So here you can fine tune the min maxes without the AI just imagining, because there's so many different variables and it has to be done with some artistic sort of quality gating, yeah. And so obviously this one's good, that 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 one's good. Every now and then you're going to get one that's completely bonkers, and then what will happen is in your testing you'll go, well, maybe the wall hugger should never have a frequency of over 4. You know, you'll come up with these rules through testing, and then once you've done that, that's the config you need for your game. You can just implement this as a component, and then it doesn't really matter what game you're making. If you need enemies to come towards the player in a spiral, this is the function. It just becomes a way to really develop a function. So you look at this, that's how you do it. Beautiful. And like I say, if you tried to just make him hallucinate, it wouldn't be parameterized and controllable like this. So it's sort of like having a debug menu for a component, which allows you to fine tune it before you even bring it into the app. But yeah, this is probably one of the most fun, because I want to do like a Star Fox type thing. I think that would be kind of fun. And we've done all of the building blocks to get there, so it's just a question of choice, really. All right, so that's another component. We looked at my procedural terrain component. We looked at the procedural robots component. And we looked at the cheat menu, which was fun. And obviously we looked at React Ace, we looked at the other one, we looked at nearly all of them. React Tanks, they're all up in the gallery. Okay, so what's the big deal? What's the big deal, he said. I need to turn the volume down, turn it off. Right. So the workflow was, let's just show you my latest. I'll just show you my latest. It should be in here. Okay, so here we go. What's the workflow, Johnson? I'll leave you with that. Using deep research, we can analyze the mechanics of Vampire Survivors as we aim to ultra-think while we write a study on the mechanics and core gameplay loops from a game development perspective in our report. He goes, yep, off they go. Vampire Survivors, got it. BAFTA-winning success. Bullet Heaven genre. Okie dokie, he says. And he writes me a docx. I don't know why he did that. He just decided. I didn't tell him Markdown Artifact, to be fair. So he wrote a docx and it won't even open. So I said, obviously it's fine. It does have everything in it. It's quite a good one, actually. But anyway, so I said, we can write this into a Markdown document targeting React 3.js drive with Fiber 2D overlays using a JSX component-based system designed to prevent long-running file lengths. We will make use of generative wireframe and SVGA-style vertex shading to escape the need for PNG graphics. We will use sci-fi setting where we control an out-of-control experimental robot on a planet full of robots trying to stop us in all different shapes and varieties. We map robot types to the enemy type in Vampire Survivors to create a new spin on the ideas. Everything is mecha and themed and based on Robot Planet, a planet of robots. Okay, off he goes. Now, the only reason we know how to write that so compact, by the way, is because we've done it so many times. There were many other versions of this that were not as good, that worked but were not as good, right? So ultimately off it goes. So at the moment, all we've really given to him is do deep research and then rewrite it from this perspective with my twist. Okay? So I've put my twist on it. Make it mecha. Mecha, mecha, mecha. Okay? Off he goes. He gives me a thing. I can review this and say yes or no, I like this or I don't like this. I end up with the Robot Planet zip, which he actually has written code. He's actually, but I say we can use the Tins skill. The Tins skill is available in Tins for Skills on my GitHub to create the readme.md containing all the steps and code required to complete the development of Robot Planet using the research document and the content of this conversation. So wrap it all up okay, and write me a single readme.md, which is the plan. So that's what he did. So complete GLSL shader code. Okay. So then we get the robot planet tins. Okay. And this is the plan. The entire planet wants you terminated. Make them regret it, it says. So Robot Planet is browser-based survival game inspired by Vampire Survivors, built with React 3 Fiber. Player controls Unit X7. Okay, you get the picture. It then explains everything. Now what we do is we copy this entire thing, and then when we're over in Google AI Studio in the build section, so just in case you weren't there, the build section, it's over here on the left, we're going to go Gemini 3 Pro Preview, we're going to click on it, and we're going to put that right here and save it. System instructions, you put the tins in the system instructions, okay, and he's now locked into your plan. And then all we have to do is say begin, I say begin completion of the plan. I say that and I hit enter, and he'll go ahead and he'll immediately build like your first sort of moonshot version, which won't be complete, okay? It won't even be step one. You then have to keep saying continue the plan until everything on your plan is done. You can even ask him, you know, I like to say assess the code base and compare it with the original plan. Make a task list and show me. Like write it in a markdown artifact, yeah? And so then he will then do that, and then you can look at it and he'll say some things will be checked off, some things will be undone, and then you can go, I wanted to do this, this, and this, and this, or I'm happy, or, you know, don't do them, right? So either way, that's how you effectively get that done. And then there's another part too, because you probably already knew that, but this is the next part to it. So once you've done all of that, and once you've finished the plan and the game works and it's great, we come back and we say, we can create a follow-up plan which can assume that everything in the TINS plan was implemented, and knowing that we now use procedural deterministic terrain and robot wireframe generators, which also work perfectly. All we have is the pause menu. Yes, we had a basic pause menu. Perhaps we can take some inspiration from the new Game Plus features in Vampire Survivors. Create a new markdown artifact containing the plan which aims to enhance what we have built. So now he makes an appendix, like a post tins, to purely for the enhancement of the game, from assuming that we have already built everything, okay? And that gives us this plan. Now, obviously, I went through and implemented all of this stuff. Evolution system, arcana cards, meta progression, character variety, boss encounters, multiple modes, secrets, and then some polish. Now, by the end of doing all of that, it was not very performant. In other words, there was too many different enemy types with too many different... No, they were all the enemies were different. Everything was different every time. So we had to start making some optimization choices. Now, when I asked Gemini to make a list of things to optimize and go ahead, he failed miserably, right? And that's fair, because he was clouded by the conversation. So I found a way to get around that. Every time you do anything on Google AI Studio, you're gonna notice. Can we get one here? You're going to notice that you're going to be using the GitHub to save everything to GitHub, right? So that means there is a GitHub repo that has what you're working on right now already online. So what I propose is you go over to your your Claude web, and then you go to the code section, which is going to open Claude Code Web. Now, the difference between Claude Code Desktop and Claude Code Web is web version can load your GitHubs. He can go into GitHub direct, whereas your local one is going to work on local files, okay? Now, obviously, when we're working in AI Studio, we can't work on his code, this code. We can't get in there with Claude or whatever. But what we can do is we can look at the repo. Now, there's a trick to it. because you don't want to break his connection to the GitHub by changing anything on the GitHub end. It'll cause a desync, and then he's not able to push anymore, which is kind of annoying. This is my workaround, right? So you go to Claude Code, you access the repo, all right? So in this case, it was the Robot Planet repo. And I said, we can plan an enhancement. So not optimization, another enhancement plan. So, because if you say optimization, he'll start chopping the code up thinking, oh, I'm going to make it super efficient. But if you say, I want an enhancement to improve the FPS, it's coming at the problem from a different angle, which gets the same result without him destroying everything you've built. So I said, we can plan an enhancement to this code base by first reading and understanding the logic which is currently in use. Everything is working and the app is already deployed. By writing a new markdown artifact named Enhancement Plan 2.md, which aims to refactor and enhance logic to provide higher performance with hundreds of enemies and projectiles on the screen without breaking the current established logic. This plan would be effected in terms of low risk, high reward prioritization, complete with detailed task lists. So in other words, he's going to target the stuff that's easiest to make more efficient, but always with not breaking the features that are there. Because the first time we did it, he went in there like an elephant in a china shop. But doing it this way, what's going to happen is he's going to write the plan. He's going to download the repo, read the code, write the plan. And then the plan gets pushed as a new branch in your original GitHub repo. Okay. And at this point, you do not merge it. Do not merge it because Google AI Studio doesn't like that. So what you want to do is you just want to go into the branch that this guy created when he's finished. Okay, you'll find it in the branch. So you go in there and you just download that MD file, and then you go to the cog in AI Studio, and again you put the enhancement plan in here. Okay, and then say continue the enhancement plan, which he'll be picked up and understood from there, and then he'll do it. Now I will say it's always dangerous to do optimization, because the very idea of optimization is simplify the code. So if it's complex and you simplify it, it might not work the same, you know. So obviously there's a little bit of there's a balance, there's a fine balancing act there. You got to walk that tightrope, but it does enable you to have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of enemies on the screen without mad performance loss, because it'll do stuff like use one mesh instead of 100 unique meshes. You know, there's a lot of stuff he can find and improve. So yeah. So and then the last thing is, I will be putting out a document which is a migration document for going from AI Studio to local VS Code. So what it does is it teaches the LLM to lock into the conversion of the dependencies and the imports for Vite, so that you can bring it down, build it for web locally, and then build with Tauri for the MSI portable distribution. That's all you have to say. If you say that to Sonnet in a VS Code client or some kind of other, he understands what that is. It's very quick. You'll get a small MSI distributable, which is perfect for a demo, and you've always got that live demo as well if you want. So, like I said, it's very cool, very cool, very cool. And like I said, the debug stuff. Credit to Fernicar for giving me this habit of putting in debugs all the time, because it's ultimately become the cheat menu, which is really nice. But yeah, if you want to check that out, everything's up. I would say be careful with maxing everything out, because it could be a little overpowered. It's basically a tech demo. But I want to remind you that some of the games that we've shipped today were imagined today. So it's like all about being dynamic and quick turnarounds. That's what it's all about. So I'll leave you with that one. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I would say, unless there's a ping, the next show would most likely be Sunday. Very busy week coming up. But always come by and stop by the Discord if you get the time. Because there's usually somebody there, and there's some great guys in there. So come by and say hello. So thank you very much again, ladies and gents. I'll be disappearing. Enjoy your evenings, and I will see you all next time.